up his smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery, oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Unless KR, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up with smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their honor show. They got to go, they got to go. These menace to society, them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies. Lord, this can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and man sorry. This Labour bunch right to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists all hard life crippling. We a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's with fake. Under these enemies of the state. AAG, dedicate lawyer. He really a pamper playing labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult of the greedy. He just a menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery, oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up with smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery, oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Unless KR, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up with smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society.
Pleasant evening to everyone. I am your host, AZARD GUMBS, Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement, attorney at law, and in studio, Sanders, the former candidate for PAM in constituency number 6. Of course, we are here on Unfiltered, and Unfiltered this evening we have an open mic. We have no agenda. We are going to speak about the issues facing St. Kitts and Nevis, because we know there are a number of issues that we face as citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. And since the Labour administration has taken office, the country has been suffering. The citizens have been suffering. And many persons who voted for the Labour administration in 2022 are terribly disappointed by their lack of performance. They are asking for an administration that cares for them, that puts their interests first. They're asking for a People's Action Movement-led administration. Of course, the People's Action Movement is rebuilding and rebuilding strongly. We have elected a first-time female leader in the person of Natasha Shani Gray Brooks. And since then, we have been making sure that the People's Action Movement is becoming fit and ready to lead the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis whenever the next general election is called. I can assure you that we have started the work. We have already recently had the election of the executive in constituency number 2. If persons are aware of what the party is doing, last week Tuesday, the party in Central Bastille, constituency number 2, elected a full executive. And that full executive is aimed, their aim and goal is to focus on rebuilding constituency number 2, putting constituency number 2 back in the hands of the People's Action Movement, working with the next candidate from constituency number 2 whenever that announcement is made. And of course, constituency number 2 is a constituency that the People's Action Movement has held in the past. And it is a constituency that we wish to, again, be successful in at the next general election. So Troy, what has been on your mind? It has been a very busy week. What has been on your mind?
AZARD, and once again, thanks for the invitation and good night to all the listeners. Boy, I just talk about PAM, and so I get a little excited because this is a good time to be a PAM.
Yes, it is.
You know, the party is rebuilding and things are going nicely.
Yes.
You know, I mean, if you look at the People's Action Movement, is every week we are out there saying something and doing something. We are a visible party and people see what we are doing, and I think for some who claim they ain't seen PAM, I don't think they're saying that now.
Yes.
They are not saying that now. As a matter of fact, when you see people start attacking you, that means you are doing something good.
Yes, in fact, the People's Action Movement, as you've said, Troy, has been busy working.
Yeah.
Just last week, Sunday, the People's Action Movement had, under the leadership of Natasha Shani Gray Brooks, we recognized that it was International Women's Day. And so on Sunday, the day after, our leader, she invited a number of women to church at the Rivers Church. And that Troy was filled with women. Over 60 women I saw in attendance, beautifully adorned in their colors. And after that, Troy, they then made their way to lunch. It was an award ceremony for those women, of course, from the various constituencies. Our political leader handed out awards. Those persons were nominated by their constituency groups for the work that they have done in the community. And I was also in attendance supporting our political leader, because the People's Action Movement, all of us are alive and well, and all of us are in support of our political leader, because we are confident that she will be successful in the next general election. We are confident that she's going to lead the party where it needs to be, and we are confident that she's going to make the right moves to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis is a safer place than it is today.
It is so correct. And you say Sunday, but AZARD, I mean, we had a packed week then.
Yes, that was Sunday.
And then
Tuesday we have the election of the executive in constituency number 2. So persons cannot say that the People's Action Movement is not working.
Well, and then on Friday, in the same week, you know.
Yes, we had a pop-up meeting in East Bastille, the home of our political leader.
And yesterday they had a breakfast.
And then yesterday we had the breakfast in East Bastille again, the home of our political leader.
So they tell you we're popping up all over.
Exactly. The People's Action Movement is rebuilding and rebuilding strongly. I know that there was some commotion over the last few weeks talking about me being chairman of the party being removed and being ousted or kicked out, whatever it is.
Wishful thinking.
I must say that I am with the People's Action Movement. The People's Action Movement is with me. We have some structural changes that are to be done. Of course, just like constituency number 2, constituency number 4 will be undergoing some election for the new executive. I have already indicated my interest to be the next candidate. And of course, I cannot be candidate and chairman of the constituency at the same time. And of course, because though the election and then selection of the candidate would be done, then thereafter, in a very close time, one has to make a decision, and I made the decision not to go up for chairman, but to put my hat in the ring for the next candidate of the People's Action Movement.
I believe it's scared. Some people scared of you, so they're trying to murky the water.
Yes.
I believe that's the problem there, you know, Azad.
We have a situation because I am ever present in my constituency. I make sure that I touch base with the people of constituency number 4. Just today, this afternoon, I attended the Virtuals High School Sports there. It was very well put together. The crowd down there in Virtuals, it's a very good crowd, and persons are having a very good time. I commend the principal of the Virtuals High School, Mr. Miguel Thomas, and his staff. I commend the students who are continuing to do well in that area. I must say that constituency number 4 is doing quite well, and I do commend the leaders of the community that continue to do their part in ensuring that our community always looks good.
Nice, nice. But as on a serious note now, you know, let's go back down history then, right? And constituency number 2, let's go back 30 years.
Yes.
As for the past 30 years, 28 out of those 30 years, they had a Labour Party representative. And if you look at the condition in constituency number 2,
Yes.
you could see how the Labour Party representatives over the years had neglected number 2.
Yes.
Number 2 has been neglected. Let's jump over to number 1, right? Number 1, for the past 30 years, they had 27, 25, right?
Yes.
25 years with a Labour representative. And you
Yes.
see the condition that we were in at George Street. You look how run down and
Yes.
the place is,
Yes.
you know, with a Labour Party representative out of the last 30 years, 25 out of the 30 years,
Yes.
he had a Labour Party representative. So that's why we are so excited, because people are saying that they need PAM. They need PAM.
In fact, the People's Action Movement in my constituency constituency 4 has never been in opposition. So I have, once selected as a candidate, I see it as a task to ensure that, that constituency number 4, once selected, that we do usher 4 into government.
Right.
It can't be any
Right.
other way.
But the people of St. Kitts and Nevis will have to take this election seriously. And they have to make up their mind that they would not let the overseas voter dictate who govern them.
Yes.
Because after elections, they are the one who stuck with this water situation
Yes.
for years, right? The people on this ground, they are the one who stuck with the high cost of living and the bus fees that rising. You know, if you look at it, I believe that the Labour Party has declared war on the middle income, the middle class.
They do not show themselves worthy to represent the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. They do not show themselves worthy to do what it takes to ensure that the St. Kitts and Nevis citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis are in a much better place.
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at it, it seems like everything they do is to make life more difficult
Yes.
for the ordinary people and the middle class. It's
Yes.
only themselves and a few friends of them are benefiting from this economy. Even the big businesses, so-called big businesses that we have here, are struggling.
Yes, I could tell you, especially mom and pop shops in my constituency number 4, because I made it my business to ensure that I visited a number of those businesses. I have a few more to visit, but I speak to the business owners, and the business owners have told me, Azad, things are not going well. The economy is slow, business is slow, things are not going well. And I go there, and of course, a few of my members of my team hear the concerns as well, and they are surprised that in such a short time, the Labour administration has done so poorly a job to ensure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are represented and to make sure that the economy is good. If you listen at the IMF report and what the IMF is suggesting, making the increase in VAT on certain areas to make it equal across, we're saying that tough times are ahead. If you look at what the IMF is saying too, we are spending more. We are going deeper into a deficit.
But where the money is going? If they're spending more and people crying out more, where the money going?
And that is a good question. Look at this. We have a minister, a deputy prime minister to be exact, a minister of education, and also a minister of housing. He's all of those, Troy. He's also a doctor. He has his doctorate. And this minister has signed or represented the government in doing arrangements with East Coast for over 2,400 homes. And just recently, this minister came to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis 2.5 years later, saying to them that, like East Coast was never a go. After doing so much, groundbreaking ceremony, building 2 model homes, and one has to ask the question, whose money was spent? Were these contractors given payments for this? Who organized the building of the model homes? If it is that East Coast now cannot carry out what they were contracted to do.
I don't know. Maybe that's a question need to put to the Minister of Housing and by the media houses. They need to ask him who built those 2 model homes. And I run into a contractor who said that they were contracted to do some foundation for this developer, the East Coast housing thing.
Yes.
And they say that they started the foundation, but they haven't received any money. And they say right now they are asking for their money.
Yes.
And they're having difficulty getting their money.
Yes. I mean that it is crazy that this Labour administration continue to take the people for fool. Continue to take the people of St. Kitts and Nevis for idiot, as we like to say, as the Jamaicans would like to say. Take the people for idiot.
But as Jeffrey Pong, he chest 11% Jeffrey Pong in his chest. He built 140 homes.
And I see here our political leader is saying that over 100 women were present at the event that she hosted last Sunday.
You're being a little conservative.
I was being conservative. Yes. So our political leader has made mention as over 100. I think it was a lot of women.
But I tell you, this is a good time to be a PAM.
Yes.
With the momentum going and the building, as they were saying, build back better. We are rebuilding this party stronger.
And the people of constituency number 1 to try has seen a representative in Dr. Hanley.
Yeah.
They have seen him in opposition, and now they have seen him in government, and not just as an minister. Troy. They have seen him in the second highest position of government, deputy prime minister. A deputy prime minister which has now failed to deliver after making arrangements and being the face of the government for these East Coast houses. A deputy prime minister that has moved from his constituency, and a deputy prime minister, our political leader was on the ground just a few weeks ago showing about the deplorable conditions of the road. And we, a deputy prime minister, represents that constituency.
But you see, Azad, as I say, you ask the people on the ground when last they see him. And they ask him, Jeffrey, where thou?
Hiding from the work. All of them are hiding from the work,
Jeff,
including the one from number 4, Samuel Duggins.
but you say all in us, so you got to make sure bring in Samuel. You know, Samuel.
Of course.
You know, Samuel is so glad to catch a plane and thing.
Exactly. In fact, he would be happy just to socialize, which socialization is good. I'm not saying socialization isn't good. But when you just smile, shake hand, giggle, and nothing more for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, it cannot be right. They expect you to lead. They expect you to deliver. And when we look at sports, when we go on to Samuel, and we look at sports, no one even know what is going on. After he has said about these, the Kim Collins Stadium, 2 years now under construction, under a team unity administration in which Pam was a part of, he talked about, renovations weren't done, and that is false. And also, if the condition of the stadium was such a deplorable condition, lest he forget, we have always had the sports there. There was never an issue to say that, because of the condition of the stadium, it cannot be adequate to host the events. Samuel Duggins comes in as Minister of Sports and he drops the ball.
But look what
Can't even keep up the renovation to ensure that it is fit for purpose.
But as I look at it again, Samuel as the Minister of Sports happy to take the people and the contaminated grounds of Barnsley High School, where people are abandoned for years, take back the children them and that contaminated ground to run. That's where the people have to punish Labour.
And the thing about it, to try, those persons who spoke, who are very enthusiastic about sports, they have said they were terribly disappointed to have students, children having to run on that field unleveled, not prepared, just like the representative, not prepared for government, just like all of them, not prepared to govern.
Probably doing more damage to her, at least. Maybe when Carifta come, we runners them might not be up to par.
And this is something that we have to make sure that when the People's Action Movement is back into power, that we ensure that, of course, we listen to the concerns of the people. We ensure that the people are put first. Because for too long, this administration is neglecting the concerns of the people, the needs of the people. And it is far too long.
The question is, did they ever had any intention to deliver on behalf of the people? I mean, the Labour Party is very good at winning elections, you know, and very, very poor at delivering for the people. And that been happening, as I pointed out, for the last 30 years, the Labour Party would have had the reins of government for 23, I mean, no, help me out there. About 23 years.
Yes.
They would have had the reign of government, and you could see that they failed to deliver for the people. All they deliver for is themselves and a set of close friends. And
the thing about it too is that we have a Labour administration whereby they, it's sometimes, because we're so in touch with the people. We had our public meeting in East Bastia, Troy, and the police came, and the police said that we were overtime about 15 minutes, gave us 5 more minutes. And we respected that because we are law-abiding citizens. I, being a lawyer, respect the law, of course, and the authority. And, there were some young men afterwards leaving, about 3 of them in East Bastia. And they said to me, "AZARD, why they stopped the meeting? Just 15 minutes? Oh, you were so good. It was such a peaceful interaction. Peaceful, this is what we like." And I said to myself, "Try, you don't normally see young men engage in politics and so enjoying the conversation." And I said to myself, the young people of St. Kitts and Nevis, the young persons are coming together. They're recognizing that this Labour administration is not fit for purpose. Their purpose was to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and they're not fit for purpose. They ought not to be in the roles that they have because they are self-serving. Yep. In fact, persons are saying that this is a lazy Labour. This is a lazy, lazy Labour administration.
Lazy Labour. Eh? Labour Party has a history of not delivering. They have a history of that. I'm calling on the youth, as you said, 3 young men meet you and say that, and I'm happy to hear that because the future belongs to them. And they are saying that Labour, you cannot cut it, but Labour feel that when time come, they will fool the young people again with a little feel-good attitude during election time. And then the people going to make that sad mistake and put them back. And then they're going to laugh at them for 4 years and then come back again and pretending to be the victim when the people are the victim and bawl to the people and tell the people, give me a next chance. But we, as the People's Action Movement, we don't see through Labour. We don't know what Labour strategies. Labour plan haven't changed over the years.
Their strategy is to maim, cripple, destroy, and then come in as the savior. Saying that they are saving what they have put to destruction.
Yeah.
And I often say, he or they who is the problem cannot be the solution.
You could remember when Dougie said, come march, you can't let's be when he get up.
I looked at that time, right? I looked at that time. Imagine, you are the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Skelet is a statutory body by where you have appointed board members under your minister, and you are saying to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, electricity too high, come back.
I want to believe his cabinet maybe made those decisions. And he said when he sees some people like Billy feel a ball. When I educate up there, for the first time in my history as an adult, I had electricity because of the fuel surcharge that they put on.
And on the Team Unity, which in PAM was a majority shareholder, we saw the subsidizing of the fuel surcharge. And then we hear now the Prime Minister talking about, oh, they used to subsidize, Of course, they are used to subsidize because people need electricity, and we realize, our administration realized, or the administration in which Pam was a part of realized that we are fighting for the honor in every man and women of this, men and women of this society, of this country, of this federation.
So that's why you go ask the question, Azad, on whose behalf are they fighting for? Because when you hear them a rumor now that they are bringing in some smart meters and you got to tap up your electricity. So imagine you're in here and you tap up done and you let's go to the
Try, and then we have a Prime Minister.
You can't allow that.
Let me tell you, there's so much talk about this U.S. situation, talk and rumors about, the relations with Cuba, the U.S. and St. Kitts and Nevis and all across the region. And we've seen in a New York Post where St. Kitts and Nevis is on a 60-day watch, and of course that came out first before we even had anything concrete from our ministers. Rumors were out there before we even got anything. And I listened to the presentation of our Prime Minister, and I looked at the YouTube, and it was dated the 14th of March, and I listened to that presentation, and I said, our Prime Minister stares into the camera for whole speech, and he has this expressionless facial expression. We have a caller. Caller, you're live and unfiltered. You have to raise the volume in here. I can't hear.
Yes.
Yes. Hello.
Good night, my brother.
Good evening. How are you?
How are you doing?
I am good. I am good.
And the other gentleman, I just chimed in, so I'm late, but thank God I got pronto.
Yes.
The other gentleman, who is he?
Troy Flanders. He ran for constituency number 6 in the last general election.
Good night, my brother Troy. How are you doing?
Good night, sir. I'm good.
All right. I have a practice to introduce my name when I'm in conversation. My name is Winston Welcome. And I will say both of you are leaders. Okay?
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna pose a question to both of you. Now, as from one leader to the next. With the issues that is going on with the U.S. and Cuba and CBI islands, citizen by investment. Now, with the statement and the order that came out from the Trump administration. Now, Mayor Muttley stated her view, Antigua stated their view. You, as a leader, how would you approach and engage in addressing this issue that is warranted?
Well, of course, I would say that if there is an issue that needs to be addressed, especially coming from the U.S., the Prime Minister ought to make some sort of arrangement, some sort of conversation after he would have communicated with the Caribbean CARICOM response, the member states across the region. One should speak with the members, the other prime ministers, the other governments, see what their view is on the matter, and then engage the United States, if the United States is the territory which is making these suggestions or recommendations or making these bans. I could say this, based on what the Prime Minister has said, and there was a statement issued, and let me try to see where this statement is. He has left me more confused than before, because first he made a presentation on the 14th of March, and his presentation talked about keeping diplomatic relations between Cuba and the US.
And
He
the US.
spoke about the benefits of having that, but he has not
About?
stated anything concrete as to whether or not the allegations are true. It was titled Cuba labor allegations, but he has not said whether or not these allegations are true and what his stance is on it. And then there was an article published that said from the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis addresses alleged leak U.S. travel restriction draft lift, confirms no formal communication received. And so he says here, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis acknowledges the publication of a New York Times article referencing the Federation in an allegedly leaked draft list of recommendations detailing 3 tiers of countries whose citizens may face restrictions on entering the United States. In response to the article, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and its embassy in Washington, D.C. have engaged with the U.S. officials. Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, confirmed today that no formal or informal communication has been received from the United States government regarding the alleged inclusion of St. Kitts and Nevis on a so-called yellow list. The draft list reportedly suggests that countries placed on the yellow category have 60 days to address concerns. However, the government is not aware of any such concerns raised by the U.S. counterpart. So this article says that the government ain't aware about any allegations that has been made. But the day before, the Prime Minister is on the radio making a presentation, a statement saying they're talking about the relations between the U.S. and Cuba. So at one, not offering or saying, and it is titled alleged allegation. So it left me confused because he's addressing something that is an allegation, and then in the following day, there's a statement by the government saying that they haven't had any formal or informal communication with the US, and this seemed to be a leaked list. And what left me further confused, because if this is an issue with Cuba, we know St. Kitts and Nevis isn't the only country that has relationship with Cuba, but we see St. Kitts and Nevis on the list. Some persons state that it has to do something with the CBI. We know St. Kitts and Nevis isn't the only country in the Caribbean that deals with CBI, but we only see, from my knowledge, Antigua and Barbuda and St. Kitts and Nevis. So there are other countries that have relations with Cuba. Why aren't they on the list? There are other countries that have citizenship by investment. Why aren't they on the list? I think the Prime Minister ought to give us more information, because as it is now, I have been reading through the lines. First, his presentation left me more confused than ever. All he's saying is that he's trying to keep relationships between U.S. and Cuba, that St. Kitts and Nevis is a sovereign nation. The day after, he says now that there's no formal communication from the U.S. to them about anything of this sort in terms of the ban. So again, my hands are left up in the air. I wait to see what is actually happening. We have another caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. We lose that caller. Oh, caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
My call was dropped while you were speaking, but I'm back.
Yes.
Now, you have me back. You have me back. You have me back. I'm back. Let me I like your answer, but if I may go somewhere further. Hello?
Yes.
I like the answer you give, and I like the way you would approach. But let me tell you something. Now, whether there was not an official notice from the government or the other government. Let me turn this down.
Caller, there's an echo in your background. For us to hear you clearly.
Yes, I have it.
Okay, thank you.
I took care of it.
Yes.
Sorry for that.
No problem.
No, I like the way you phrase your approach.
Yes.
No, like I said, one leader to the next.
Could you increase the volume? Caller, talk louder. I can't hear the caller. Caller,
can you hear me better?
Yes, I can hear you better.
Okay. All right. Now, I like your approach, like I said.
Thank you,
but
caller.
If I make it further, like I said, from one leader to the next, because I am a leader, I'm not a follower.
Yes.
Okay? You got to make sense to me for me to agree with you. Now, the Prime Minister play a double-edged sword. Okay? He don't want to get caught between a brick and a hard wall. But, first, I think every island state speak for themselves. But yes, we should have one voice at the end of the day, because the State Department want to hear from each individual island.
Yes, and caller, what the thing about it too, right? We have similarities. We have Dominica, who has citizenship by investment. I'm sure they have other countries who have relationship with Cuba. Why is it that St. Kitts and Nevis and Antigua is on the list and some other countries aren't? These are questions of concern. You understand?
Yes, I understand that. So hear this now. Hear this. Remember, Barbados already state their claim. Okay?
But
so
I haven't, and strangely enough, right? I haven't seen Barbados on the list that was that was circulated.
So they are not, but they have state their claim. Antigua is on the list.
Yes.
Antigua is a CBI state, CBI island. Now, first of all, what these governments who are listed on this list should do is to go to Washington. Because remember, Cuba or the U.S. Forced labor, against forced labor. So they are saying that St. Kitts is sponsoring forced labor. And the Cuban doctors, they are coming under the notion
I'm
that
told that we have another caller on the line. So could you? I just want.
The point. Let me just get to the point. The point I'm making is, each island should make it their interest to go to Washington, state their claim, address the allegation, and if the U.S. what the U.S. need from us, what they need us to do, and ask the U.S. what they have to offer. Because here is it. We have Cuba who is supplying us with medical expertise. If we have to make a choice, what the U.S. going to give is substitution. If we say, okay, because Cuba has nothing to give us other than, yes, the doctorship. Could the U.S. give us doctorship, doctor service, and other attributes? You need to know where you stand. And every island government going to speak their claim. If all of us speak in harmony, well, so it is so. But you have to be dialogue, because let me tell you something. As bad as the U.S. is, and as, how shall I say, uncalled for, they need an answer. Else the people are going to suffer. And the government cannot make the people suffer. The government have
Caller,
to
we have two more calls on the line.
Yes. Okay, I really yield.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much, caller. I mean, get your point and valid concerns. Let's see. We have another caller. We lost those two calls. Okay. Callers, we acknowledge you and we hope that you call back. And in this situation with the with this, because if you look at it and the way in which he phrased the that thing that I saw, his address. It says allegations, and then we had Dr. Douglas who came on, and he said that, you know, he makes it clear that the Cuban doctors will not be sent back. And then Dr. Drew comes on after Dr. Douglas and then does a superficial statement where at the end of it, you don't even know where he stands. At the end of it, you don't even know whether or not the allegation he's confirming that there is. Go ahead. Caller. Caller, you live?
Yes, good evening, man. How you guys doing tonight? Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Burl. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Yeah, this discussion about this Cuba issue is very fluid. Yeah, the Prime Minister came up with a statement Friday evening, and in my opinion, he's playing both sides of the equation. Yes, it's all good that we're talking about diplomacy, but from the American standpoint, they're not going to listen to no diplomacy. They're not going to listen to no one. We already don't know. They're coming after our CBI program. We know that clearly already. And leading up from when Marco Rubio put that communique out, leading up to today, we already done seen the clip circulating from the St. Vincent Times.
And we're seeing things from regional papers before we see anything locally. That's the concern as well. Because when the Prime Minister, I went out and looked for this statement that he made, and he said, statement by Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis on Cuban labor allegations. That was the heading.
Yeah, so we know how this administration is. They're very reactive. They're not proactive.
And they confuse you. They confuse you. This administration, even in making decisions, when they make decisions, you're wondering, what is it that they're saying? Then they go back and they tailor what they have said. It's as though their communication skill, their whole thing, whoever is advising them, is to confuse the people. So whatever the people interpret, let's see which one is the most favorable one, and we run with that. Because we're going to confuse them. Let them have two views.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm saying they confuse the people, so the people have two different views. And perhaps which one is the more popular view they go with, and say that was the interpretation.
In relation to that, the other regional leaders, they spoke. But when they speak, we know what side they're on already. Yeah. Our prime ministers make a statement Friday, but we can't definitively tell which side he's on.
But he makes a statement, the government makes a statement afterwards saying, again, just to go back to the statement, after he makes that statement, he says your government of St. Kitts and Nevis addresses alleged leak U.S. travel restriction draft list, confirms no formal communication receives. So if no formal communication was received, what was he addressing?
Me personally, Azar, I'm happy that this stuff is happening. You know why? When we as regular citizens lost our visa-free travel to Canada, our leaders seemed like they didn't care about us. Now we've been hearing the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis asking our leaders to stay grounded, stay off of these planes. It appears like if they're not going to listen to the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, they're going to listen to Big Uncle Sam. We need to actually stand up to the USA. That's my stance. I don't like to see that the USA is taking this position against our Caribbean islands. Yes, but our leaders got to speak in one voice. And if they don't, they're going to feel the consequences down the road.
But, Burl, this is the thing, too. And again, the question has to be asked. Why St. Kitts and Nevis, of all the Caribbean countries, if I had seen the other Caribbean countries on the list, I would have said this might have been.
But Azard, let me make a slight correction to you there.
Mm-hmm.
They have the 4 islands that have CBI. It's not just St. Kitts and Nevis. There's 4 islands that have the CBI. St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua Barbuda, St. Lucia, and Dominica.
Yes,
and then there's another list.
Are they on the list? Remember the list that was sent
Yeah,
out?
yeah. They're on the list. They're on the list. Yes, of course. I've seen it myself.
Let me look
And
at the list.
in addition to those 4 islands, Cuba and Haiti is added to another list as well. And that's where the U.S. is going with it. The USA, from the USA side, their diplomacy is very well crafted. To see that they have now gone
But
after
Burl,
the
we are
island.
introducing CBI to the mix, where the Prime Minister makes a statement, and he's saying that the statement is based on Cuba labor allegations. He made a statement in relation to Cuba labor allegations. He
Yeah.
didn't make a statement in
But
relation
you
to
see,
CBI.
yes.
But,
Yes. The USA is doing that. Yes, but the ultimate price is to cripple and dismantle our CBI in the Caribbean. That's the big goal of the United States and Europe. Don't forget that. And the MSR saga of last year, everyone has brushed that underneath the rug. But those persons that thought and said Philippe Martinez might have been an agent, the guy said he is going to transfer information to the State Department. And then look at what's happening right now. The communique is coming out of the State Department, out of the United States, attacking the Caribbean islands. This is not a coincidence at all. Our leaders just got to be prepared for things like these, and they are not prepared. But me personally, Azad, let me just quickly say something from a personal level. Like I was saying before, when we lost visa-free travel to Canada, under the Douglas administration back in 2014, they got warning and they didn't take heed. And then the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis is suffering. They had to suffer. Since I was a little boy, I know we could have traveled to Canada freely, but now we can't. And then the United States attacking our leaders right now, guess what? When they get a visa restriction imposed on them, let's see how they're going to feel then. That's all I want to say for the night, man. Thanks a lot.
But I'm looking at the list again. Thank you for your contribution. I'm looking at the list again, and it says here, because you mentioned other countries, I see red, all travel banded. I don't see no Caribbean country except Cuba on that one. Orange, visa sharply restricted. The only Caribbean country I see on that one is Haiti. Yellow, 60 days to address concerns. I'm seeing Antigua and Barbuda. I'm seeing Dominica. Yes, Dominica is on the list. And I'm seeing St. Kitts and Nevis. Oh, yes. So Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm not seeing St. Lucia, and St. Lucia has CBI.
But as the caller was saying, the first, you hear Ralph Gonzal address this issue, right?
Yes.
And Ralph Gonzal comes straight down on the side of his people, right?
Yes.
Ralph Gonzal come down on the side of his people. Ralph Gonzal said if they want his visa, they could take it. Because he is going to make sure that his people been taken care of. Right? So, the question is it the health of the people or your visa? That's where the question lies. Are you going to give up the doctors them and then your people suffer? Or you can say more about the US visa?
I think is one of great concern. I think on both ends, the relationship with the U.S. I think Caribbean has benefited from the past with relationship with the U.S. I think is a very we need diplomacy at its best at this time.
I agree with you.
We need diplomacy at its best.
I mean, if you look at it as
but my fear is whether or not these persons who have been elected to lead have the necessary skills.
I don't know if diplomacy could help the Caribbean at this moment. You see, the U.S. has been hostile to almost everybody right now, including Canada, who next door, Mexico, who next door, who bigger and more powerful than the Caribbean. So you think the hostility, you got to remember that most of these Caribbean islands, again, have a close relation.
We have a caller.
With China.
Caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
Remember that most of these Caribbean islands have
Caller.
I am weighing in. I like how I like how Ball phrased his argument. But let me tell you something. Everything is a link from what Philip Martinez was involved in. The U.S. government is not, and I need to make it abroad, that the U.S. government is not after the people of St. Kitts, it's the leaders and their kleptocratic behavior reported to the State Department and all that involves stemming from the CBI, because the U.S. need to know who is coming, who is using us for a bridge to get up under them. The U.S. is vulnerable, and the Caribbean is the stepping stone, the bridge, and they are protecting themselves. But at the same time, I agree with the other colleague, Troy. Okay, the U.S. is hostile to everyone. So it seems like it's all about the leaders, the predicament that they put their people in. And you know what the U.S. is sending? Listen to the message. All you leaders, all you kleptocratic, you've been there, you are misfits, and you are recycled. I use the word recycle, and step aside. It's time to go. Just like how I didn't like how the Trump administration tell Zelensky they wanted to step aside for negotiation with Russia. But to tell you the truth, the Caribbean leaders, they are corrupt, and they need to go. We need to bring in men like AZARD, because you ain't staying. You don't have no black cloud. You are fresh on the market. I don't have any black cloud either. So we need new leaders in our country, because they keep on flip-flopping, repeating, PAM, Labour, NRP, CCM. We're done with them. Let them go. Let's try a new, fresh breed. Okay? Because
Thank you,
the
caller.
same old, they're going to continue.
Thank you, caller. We have two more callers. I do appreciate
Yes.
your
I
input.
will yield to that.
Thank you so much.
Last but not least,
Okay. So we have, sorry about that, caller. We have the other two. Caller, you're live.
Yes, Azad. Yes, I sent you something to your WhatsApp, man. Right?
Yes. My phone is,
And
yes.
yeah, for me, I'm gonna make something clear to whoever is listening right now.
Yes.
This thing concerning this Cuba stuff. If our Caribbean leaders, right, if they listen to the people, first of all, they don't want to listen to the people that put them there. But like I said before, they're gonna listen to Uncle Sam now. But the people are crying out for our leaders to stand up collectively. And if these leaders in the Caribbean don't stand up to America this time around, we should replace all of these misfits.
Okay, bro. I see
We
what
should
you said.
replace
I'm
them.
seeing this for the first time. It says Antigua and Barbuda,
Yeah.
Cuba, Haiti, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia are on the list facing U.S. travel ban. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, if our leaders can't stand up collectively and represent for the people of the Caribbean, all election cycles across the Caribbean should sweep them all out of power. They are all misfits. We need to stand up and make a clear statement to the United States. And if we do, we will get some pushback. We will get them to, they're gonna have to reshuffle. They're gonna have to fall back. If our leaders don't stand up in this time, they need to be replaced.
And you sent me this article by St. Vincent Times.
Times.
.com.
Yeah.
And again, Burl, this is what the problem is.
Yeah.
We get more
I
information.
get you.
We get more information from news agencies outside than within. So here it says the list comprises of 4 Caribbean nations: Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, and St. Lucia. The government's concern that resulted in these islands being placed on the list may involve perceived security threats associated with their citizenship by investment programs, and the potential for these programs to create loopholes for individuals from banned countries to gain entry into the United States using CIP granted passports.
Like I was saying before, America has the diplomacy from the American side. We don't want to hear this, that they're trying to put restriction on our leaders. But I'm going to tell you, the diplomacy from the American side, it is well crafted. It's well crafted. So now, let's see how much our leaders, let's see what type of diplomacy our leaders are going to come with. Let's see how they're going to handle America. They're in a quagmire. The Caribbean region right now is in a quagmire with this issue. They're not going to get out of this one that easy. They're in a big quagmire with this issue here. Because America, they're not going to let up. They're not going to let up. You hear statements that you just read? America knows what's going on in the Caribbean. You see how Donald Trump is after the Panama Canal? He's after these Caribbean islands just the same. They're not going to stop.
Mm-hmm. Well, bro, thank you.
He's currently trying to craft a military action right now against Panama right now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your input, Burl. Thank you for your input and your concern.
This is separated from the boards. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. What stands out to me is that we have a newspaper in St. Vincent talking about the fact that it might be CBI related. But days ago, we have the Prime Minister addressing something that says Cuba labor allegations. And then a day after, he says there's no formal communication. So we have him addressing something as relates to Cuba. Then we have a newspaper saying it's CBI. We're confused. The Prime Minister needs to do something and come out to the people and tell us what is going on.
You seem to be surprised. The first time we heard about the housing project, and the thing is from a paper in Trinidad.
Exactly. The first time we heard about, I'm glad for the reminder.
It's from a paper in Trinidad.
The first time we heard about the East Coast, yes, Troy, you're right. So the first time we heard about East Coast was from a Trinidadian newspaper.
So it seems like you get surprised. That's how they govern. That is the way they do things.
And then it was like, we uncover some secret. And then they were silent. But we have a caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. We lost that caller. Caller, you're live. Okay. We had two callers, but look at lost them. Right? Sorry about that.
I think the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis said something like some 5 days after.
Okay, we have the caller now. Caller?
Look at last day. Sorry about that. I think the Prime Minister.
Caller, you're live?
Yes, thank you again. Azad,
yes.
As long as I can get in, I will call back.
No problem.
You got to realize you are on fire every time you come on Sunday.
Thank you so much.
And you are cheese to my bread.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Let me tell you something. I need the people to know of St. Kitts and Nevis and all those Caribbean islands. It's not the people, but it's like there is a storm and the leaders have to address this matter immediately, ASAP. Okay? And the leaders have to get their negotiation skill in order, because the U.S. is no nonsense. And who is going to negotiate for St. Kitts and Nevis? I know, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think Douglas will be a good negotiator because they already had their restrictions based on what went down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Douglas have history.
Yes.
Okay? With Canada, there was history there too. So, is the Prime Minister capable of negotiation for St. Kitts? Hell no. So they're going to have to find something. They better send me or they better send Bowl. Winston, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the light of everything, they should step aside, call the election. Okay? Win your seat. I win my seat. And everybody else win my seat. And let's get rid of all these damn misfits.
Yeah, they are round figures in square holes.
But you know, as I don't normally think with you that last caller, disagree with that last caller. But he did state that you get rid of the PAM and the labor and anything, but I will remind him that
we have another caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
Good evening, Azad. How are you?
Hey, good evening, Miss Henry. How are you? Long time I haven't heard your voice on a program that I'm hosting.
Oh, well, you got somebody got to guard the gate, you know.
Yes.
So I'll be there with my good friend, Eric Barrow.
Yes.
And when you finish, I come to hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I listen to you, you know. But what I'm saying is this. This is a time when both government and opposition have to stand together, because the Cuban medical program has been active on all the former opposition parties. Isn't that so?
Yeah, and I agree with you. This is where
So
government
that they
and
can
opposition should come.
confirm, so that they can confirm that it is not any forced labor. Now, because you see, sometimes it's strategy, you know. They want the opposition to say, oh, yes, it's true. Because you know how sometimes, when we're not in power, we say, well, it's true.
Yes.
But since all of them have served using the same program, they can confirm that it is not so. Because it's a strategy America uses.
Yeah, but Ms. Henry,
divide and conquer.
you have some articles speaking. You have the Prime Minister addressing Cuba labor allegations. Then you have articles in the region suggesting that it could be CBI related. But we don't get any clear information from our Prime Minister, as he his government wrote the day after, on the 15th of March, that there has been no formal communication from the U.S.
Well, but they see the information other place. So what I'm saying is this, right? Even so, they're talking about the due diligence. No, that can be handled easy because they have access before anybody is accepted into the program. The information and the people are sent to the U.S. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
It's under unity. So these are things you can say, well, it shouldn't be any surprise talking about giving a visa to countries that don't, that are on the list. They know who. And it's interesting to see how DeSantos, when people got spite and revenge, I mean, Cuba has been brought to its knees. And here it is, he's supporting maybe the extermination of the people.
Yes.
Because you see what happened? Just like Haiti had to pay France, you know. So America is waiting for its, whatever you want to call it, for the sugar estate and whatever that Cuba took over. As simple as that. So maybe his family lost something. But how are they going to stand back and watch their own country suffer? So I am thinking you need to back up, communicate how whoever writes it. But the truth is, it is not so.
Yeah, I think
we don't have them, but she spoke up. So
I
to me
think
now, it is
that
now
on both ends is a difficult decision. You're balancing, or you're on a tightrope or a very thin line, and you have to make sure you
the
go.
opposition gain. Look, you all will gain more preeminence if you step up and support that issue.
But we must know what the issue is.
Well, you know, the issue is CBI.
And this is where we have people in government, and we are seeing articles being written across the region in New York, and those people in government don't even know what's going on based on what they are.
Well, who know what's going on supposed to jump in, because if they've shut down the thing and they call election and they lose, who going in?
Yes.
They're going to have to clean up. The same thing happened in 2014 when they tried to shut down the CBI with Dr. Douglas. When Unity went in there to give a kind of concession, give them access to the information, so that who know, speak up. You're not supporting the party, but you're supporting the country. And I was also thinking, in Florida, there's like Northwest, a number of areas where there are high concentration of petitions and divisions. You have them in Washington, D.C., Maryland. Wherever people are concentrated, they should be consulted and informed so that they too can join and lobby.
Again,
you
as
know
I said before,
Miami, they go to Miami Carnival. All people down there, wherever, and the Black Caucus.
We
right?
have a number of persons in the United States,
Yeah,
a number of
The
petitions.
Black Caucus can be consulted and so that they too can lobby in the House or in the Senate. So there are avenues, you know. All right then.
Thank you, Ms. Henry.
But let's take a look at it. If it's the Cuban issue, it is simple. If it's the CBI, that's where we need more information.
Yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. This government has failed. The fact that we're here discussing it now, And persons are discussing the possibilities of whether it's Cuba labor allegations, whether it's CBI shows that the government has failed to inform the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. What the issue is?
Well, that's something they need to think. But as I was saying to the caller, he was saying forget the PAM and the labor and what's not. But it's 30 years this year will make since PAM wasn't in the office, So when he said forget the PAM and the labor, PAM is getting a black eye for what labor has done. It is labor who create the mess. So when you say forget PAM and labor,
We have a caller. Caller, you're live and unfiltered.
It is labor who create the mess.
Thank you, caller. You're live.
Yes. Troy,
yes, sir.
I didn't mean it in that spirit, okay?
Oh, okay, thank you.
But everyone have their own understanding. It's nothing to do with, okay?
All right.
We all know where this stem from, okay? So let me just clarify that.
Thank you.
Understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm listening
Gotcha.
to you. But let me tell you something. Apart from the Cuba issue in the mix, it's not Cuba is that easy to deal with. We know what we get from Cuba. We've been benefiting from Cuba in the medical arena from Timbuktu, if it is fair to say that. It's the CBI, because the CBI had too much crooks. Okay? You know what I hope? All those money that was said to be laundered in Chinese bank, Bank of America in the US, JP Morgan Chase, and where else? There are money laundered out there, well wanted to be found. And throw it on the kitchen or throw it in some kind of benefit to ease the burden. America is not after the people of St. Kitts. They're not after the citizens. It's the government. They're not ready yet. They're to lie and let them go away. Let me talk like Jamaican. Okay? We need a new breed. AZARD.
Yes.
I don't know you, but hey, we need fresh air in the atmosphere. Okay?
Thank you.
And that's where you mean. That's where me come in. And that's where any other independent come in. Okay? We don't need no more misfits because they corrupt the system and they're going to create a burden on the people. They create a storm and the people caught up in it. And they're going to blame others. We don't need that. Enough is enough. Let it go away. Bye for now. I don't care who don't like to hear me, but I talk truth. Power.
We have another caller. I like the phrases that you said.
Yeah,
I have noted lying labor in addition to lazy labor. We have another caller.
Hello, good night.
Hey, good evening.
So I would have listened to the lady from, I think she's from Newton, I forgot her name, and of course I endorse what she says, and of course, you know, I'm a Trump supporter, and of course, even though I support him, there are things that there are things that he does that I step away from in agreement. Now, as it relates to St. Kitts and Nevis, I think right now that the government is weak and feckless. And it is not to berate, denigrate, or besmirch the Prime Minister's reputation. But as it is now, what I am seeing, it's like we are walking on our knees instead of we should be standing on our feet, as what Michael Mann would have said in the 1970s in Jamaica. But the question is, the party, the PAM party, the leader, Miss Natasha Brooks, the question is, what will she do differently? Right?
I could tell you one thing that she would do differently, Carlo. I could tell you one thing she would do differently. She will actually lead the country, because right now there is a failed leadership. Dr. Drew has failed to effectively lead his cabinet and lead the country. In fact,
Yep.
one person said to me during the public meeting, after the public meeting, you know what happened why Labour ain't doing anything? Because when there was the leadership race, they had so many divided fractions. They had the Douglas Labour, the Congress Labour, the Jeffrey Labour, the Joe Labour. When the People's Action Movement had a leadership race, our leader was uncontested, meaning that the party supported that individual to be leader. And so we have no division in our party. There's division in the Labour Party. And that's why they're not leading.
Yeah.
So one thing different that she will do is lead this country with a team that
Yes,
is
I do
supporting
understand what
her.
you're saying. I do understand what you're saying, honorable gentleman. But this is it. This is it. Yeah, we know that the government is not leading as they should. But I have not heard a single policy position, because I stand on policy position. All right. She has not come forward she has not brought forward any policy to combat inflation, to when it comes to diversifying the economy, because tourism is not something that is secure. How will St. Kitts and Nevis be in good hands with the U.S., right? I've not heard that if she wins, she will have talks with the president. I've not heard. So yes, you can blame and blame. But I have not really heard anything, any policy. I've not seen any policy position that she has put forward. No, I want to say that.
Yes,
So
and
to
caller,
move me over, to haul me out of the undecided column, and to put me into the decided column to vote for Pam. I need to see, not just only blaming Labour, which the existential problem for this country right now, but I need to see policy position. I need to see policies and those things.
caller, yes, and I
That's what
understand
I
that. I understand that. During the last election in 2022, the People's Action Movement presented policies to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We had a 2022 to 2027 manifesto. There are a number of things in our manifesto that we said we were going to do during these 5 years. Carla, I do recognize that you are listening and waiting for policies, and policies are going to come. The party is building. The party is looking at the situation now. We are not going to be just talking for talking's sake, like the Labour administration did when they said they're going to increase this by this and they're going to reduce this by this, and nothing is done. This is a party that puts people first. This is a party that looks at the economy. This is a party that is going to listen to the various sectors, have discussion with the various sectors, and that is going to take time. And so we are looking that when we launch these policies, that these policies are not just policies that we have by a table by 5 persons, but that we have been looking, we have been speaking with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and these are their concerns, and that at the point in time takes some time. So we continue to hold the government's feet to the fire, because currently they are in the position to serve. But while holding their feet to the fire, we are looking at their mistakes, and we are looking at ways in which we can serve the people. And clearly there's going to be policy coming out shortly. We are building, the constituency branches are building. There is going to be the selection of candidates shortly. And of course, those persons who come to the table as candidates will be a part of the table and the discussion when it comes to policy. So this is the 2025. We're in the first quarter. As the year progresses, I'm sure you're going to hear from our political leader as the race tightens, as the race for the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. We know that the next election is scheduled for 2027. Of course, as that time winds down and as we go down, we're going to be looking, as we are now speaking with persons, we're now crafting the information, because we don't want to just come out and say these are the policies. We want to make sure when the policies are given, they are people-centered,
Right.
people-focused.
Okay. And last thing, so in the case where if the travel ban, because I would have seen that think it's will experience a travel ban to the U.S. No, I'm saying that if it lingers during the time of the election and so forth, is it a promise that the leader of PAM will try to negotiate with the U.S. president to try and see how best, the child ban can be removed and to stabilize our diplomatic relationship with the U.S. Is that a position that she's willing to take to negotiate with the U.S. to better stabilize our diplomatic relations with the U.S.?
Our political leader has said time and time again that her interest is the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And therefore, when she has the opportunity to serve, she will look out for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And if it is to dialogue with the U.S. is in the best interest of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, I am confident that's what she's going to do. Because she has said from time and time again that her concern is the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you for your input.
Yes, AZARD.
Yep.
And as you're speaking, I hope we could tune in because we have a press conference coming.
Oh,
up.
yes. Yeah, I even forgot the press conference that
Yes,
is
we
on
have a press
Wednesday.
conference
We are
coming
doing
up.
so much.
Yeah.
We are doing so much as a party. And the People's Action Movement continues to work, continues to put people first. We have another caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
Yes.
Caller,
Hello?
Caller, you're live?
Yes. Yes. Like I said again, your program is hot is sweet like cheese, and I have the hot bread. So I'm going to take an opportunity I can. The caller just spoke. I agree with him 100%, but I will push this more tighter. Okay? The manifestos for each party should come out now. Okay? I don't like this last minute thing. Okay? If you're going to deliver, it should be known as early as possible. You all must know what you all have to deliver. Yes, you got to find on a one-to-one, group-to-group, what the people need, not want. Okay? And utter it once and for all. So have a domination. Have a domination in the island. Something different and unique. I'm saying this to help you.
Yeah.
Okay?
I could say caller
I'm
for
saying this
me.
because-
I could say caller for me. What I am passionate about at this point in time in terms of looking at the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is the issue of housing. And that is why I speak so much about the failed project of Dr. Jeffrey Hanley and the Labour administration. Because there are a number of persons, and you go to my constituency number 4, there are a number of persons who are in need for homes. You look at a number of young people across this country, and the issue is affordable homes, being able to construct homes. You look at it as a lawyer and being there, and a lot of persons are paying rent, they can't afford it, and there's no proper rent restriction. And so we have a lot of persons in need for proper housing. So for me at least, if I am at the table, it has to be something as it relates to housing in there for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
And I acknowledge that. I know you meant well, Azard. You don't even have to put everything in a nutshell as time goes by. Okay? And like I said, everyone don't think the same way. And I'm listening out for dynamic thinkers and dynamic dreamers and the manifested. And the people has to have some kind of agreement. So you all have...
We have another caller. Thank you so much, caller.
Yeah.
Yes. Caller? Caller?
Hello? Hi, good evening. Peace to you and your guests. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Nice,
This
nice.
is the other deputy political leader of the People's Action Movement, David Lincoln Pell.
Yes, I just called to say I love the program, and I just want to remind persons that People's Action Movement is going to make St. Kitts and Nevis prosperous again, because we have the solutions to the issues and we have the answers to the questions. In relation to what somebody questioned the person about the Cuba situation, our political leader will make a statement, and I hope persons could be listening. And right now I want to take the opportunity to invite persons from the constituency come to the press conference and hear what the political leader will say and topics that they have questions for. Because the People's Action Movement look for the best interests of the St. Kitts and Nevis and its people. And therefore, any action that will will be taken will for the best interest of this beloved nation of ours and our beloved people. So continue doing the good work. And to the gentlemen who call in and to my good friend Sylvian, just rest assured, the People's Action Movement would have made things very prosperous in the past. And like Troy would have mentioned, and you as well as that, we've been out of government for over 20 years. But when we were in team unity, we were able to get things done, and by a unit by itself, come the next general election when we win all seats, we're going to show the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that the People's Action Movement have the best interests of St. Kitts and Nevis and for them. So I just want to say God bless you all, God bless St. Kitts and Nevis, and peace to you, peace to St. Kitts and Nevis. Continue doing the good job.
Yeah, thank you, Carlo.
Thank you.
But you know, as things start to outroll, you know, there was a cry for candidates. Oh, when we're gonna announce candidates, right? And now we're in a process that soon we'll hear candidates to announce. If you look at it, we had a meeting on Friday.
Yes.
There was 5 speakers there. There was 5 speakers at that meeting.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it might have been 6.
Right?
So when you look at it, there are 5 persons there. Out of the 5, 4 would have been candidates. 4.
Yes.
So if you're looking at the equation, you could say 4 would have been candidate and might be candidates. So we are halfway there. Right? So when people say, oh, where's the candidates? Where's the candidates? You're already halfway there.
And there's one who has already put his hand in the ring to be the candidate.
So when you look at it now, you're bringing down the numbers again. Right? So when they tune into the press conference, they just might hear something newsworthy. It might just surprise them. You know, so they tune into the press conference. As we talk about candidates, you might hear something. You don't know.
The party is building. The party is making sure that every arm is strong, strengthened. And our political leader is leading the way to ensure that that happens. And so we are mindful that our party, and I know persons like to say, you know, we lost the last general election, but parties lose elections. It's not about what you have lost. It is how you are able to rebuild not only the party structure, but rebuild your reputation and confidence within the people. And I think that people last election placed a lot of confidence in Labour. A lot of confidence. It was full confidence for the majority of people in St. Kitts and Nevis they placed in Labour. But that confidence has waned. That confidence is not there anymore. In fact, people are saying, let's get rid of them because it's a lazy Labour. We have another caller.
Yes, this is the cheese and bread again. Azad, let me ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Has PAM has all its candidates as yet, or they are still on the table for strong arm candidates?
Well, the People's Action Movement has had applications from persons, and there have been persons who have indicated their interest to the political leader. Very shortly, there are going to be selections of candidates, not the full slate, but they are going to be selection of candidates very soon. There are going to be a few candidates that would be announced.
Some constituencies are closer than some.
Some constituencies are closer than some.
I am looking forward for each, between PAM and PLP, to see their manifesto, okay? What they're all about, what they got to offer the people, what is best for the people. I am a wild card. I am an independent, yes, but if your manifesto aligned with my manifesto, I will align with you, whether it's an independent or due to collaboration, because I consider myself as a very strong arm, and I'm going to hold any government as long as I get a seat, independent or what. I'm going to hold you all accountable, and you all hold me accountable, because I am serious. I'm a humanitarian. Okay.
I love the passion in your voice.
Yeah.
I
need to see the manifesto. I need to read the manifesto.
And of course, caller, we will love to speak with you. You know, you have ideas, you have concerns, and people like you is what the party needs. We need persons who have
I could
people putting people
take this
first.
email. I'll give you this email.
Yes.
Call me, email me.
Yes.
WININ, V as in Victor, ENTEKK @gmail.com. wininventec@gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to wind down.
Thank you also.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Be safe. We're going to wind down the program. We only have a few minutes, and so we're going to allow no more calls. I want to say thank you so much for everyone who called in and ensure that this program went well. I mean, it's unfiltered. It's a discussion whereby we talk. We're not fearful of allegiance. We're not fearful of this administration that looks to victimize people. We're not fearful of their tactics. We are here serving the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We're here being a voice for the voiceless. And we will continue to do that. We'll continue to put people first. We have a press conference that is on Wednesday. And we hope that person...
4 p.m.?
At 4 p.m. So our press conference, the People's Action Movement, is going to be at 4 p.m. I urge you to look at the party page. We have a Facebook page. Look at the Facebook page. Follow the Facebook page. The Facebook page gives information as to what is happening within our party. And so you can look out for the People's Action Movement. We are a party that is rebuilding and putting people first. We are on fire. We want to make sure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, that the people, we serve them well. And so our political leader, during her term in office, conducted a number of listening tours because we need to listen to the people. We need to know what they're saying. I myself have been in the constituency. I have spoken to many people, not all the people yet, but many of them. And many of them are tired of this Labour administration. Many of them are tired of this representative info. And many of them are looking for better. And we promise the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that better is coming. Better days are coming. So again, on Wednesday, 19th March 2025 at 4 p.m. at the Solid Waste Conference Room, Taylor's Ridge, you're invited to come and listen to the press conference. You can RSVP 869-662-0909. I thank you, Troy, for being on this program this evening.
Anytime, Azan.
Thank you so much. Again, I thank the listeners and the callers. You guys continue to motivate, inspire, and encourage. And I must say thank you. I will continue to do my best to lend my voice to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Have a pleasant and safe evening, everyone.
The views and opinions expressed in this program were solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WinFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
Lord, this can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem scandal disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and man mixari. This Labour bunch right to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists all hard life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no India. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake. Under these enemies of the state, AAG, Nanny get lawyer. He really a pamba plain labor, third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult and the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy on all of we with this menace to society.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD GUMBS, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WIN FM. Join AZARD GUMBS as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WIN FM 98.9.